Welcome back, my great history lovers, and thank you for joining me today as we explore one of the most fascinating and extraordinary stories in the world of American coins, a world where even the smallest piece of currency can hide an astonishing secret waiting to be revealed. Today, we turn our attention to the 1985 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a penny that most people have handled countless times without ever thinking twice about it. Yet under the right circumstances, with the right errors, anomalies, mistakes, and mint mark mysteries, this simple coin can transform from a single cent into something of unimaginable worth, even a theoretical value as astonishing as $259,000 million. This journey into the heart of numismatics is not just about metal and minting processes but about curiosity, rarity, history, and the extraordinary possibilities hidden inside objects we see every day. So settle in as we explore every detail, every anomaly, and every possibility that could make a 1985 penny one of the most valuable coins in the world. That we begin with the familiar, the everyday coin that sits in pockets and drawers across America. The 1985 Lincoln penny was minted in two major facilities, Philadelphia and Denver, represented by the mint marks P and D. To most people, a penny minted in 1985 holds no special significance. It is just another copper-plated zinc coin with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But collectors know that behind this simple appearance lies an entire universe of details, and within those details are the clues that determine whether a coin is ordinary, unusual, rare, or truly extraordinary. The minting process itself is a marvel of industrial precision, yet even the most carefully controlled systems can produce unexpected results. Each penny starts as a blank metal disc, a planchet, waiting to be struck between two engraved dies carrying the obverse and reverse designs. The process is designed for speed and consistency, but machinery ages, dies wear out, and human oversight can occasionally fail. The result is that errors slip through, and when they do, they can produce coins that deviate from the standard design in ways that collectors deeply value. These deviations, when pronounced and preserved, are what transform a common penny into a treasure point. One of the most dramatic types of error that can occur is a double die. A double die happens not during the striking of the coin, but during the creation of the die itself, when the design is impressed more than once onto the die in slightly different positions. This creates a coin where features appear doubled, letters look shadowed, numbers appear duplicated, and parts of Lincoln's face or clothing may appear layered or repeated. For a 1985 penny, a double die affecting the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date 1985 would be immediately noticeable to a trained eye and highly valuable. Imagine examining such a coin and seeing the date appear twice, slightly offset, creating a captivating visual anomaly that sets the coin apart from millions of its standard counterparts. Another type of error that collectors seek is an off-center strike. Off-center strikes occur when the planchet is not properly aligned between the dies when the coin is struck. The design appears shifted, and part of the coin may be blank where the dies did not touch. Depending on the degree of misalignment, the value of the coin can increase dramatically. A 1985 penny with a 50% off-center strike, for example, showing half the design intact and half the blank planchet exposed, would be a striking and valuable error. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the potential for extraordinary value. Clipped planchets also make certain coins highly collectible. A clipped planchet occurs when the metal sheet from which planchets are cut shifts or overlaps, resulting in blanks that are missing a portion of the metal. When these incomplete blanks are struck, the resulting coin has a noticeable missing section, an obvious flaw that immediately distinguishes it from standard pennies. A 1985 penny with a large curved clip or straight edge clip would attract significant interest from collectors, especially if the rest of the design remains sharp and well struck. Rotated dies offer another fascinating anomaly. Most coins are struck with precise alignment, meaning that when you flip the coin over vertically, both sides appear upright. But if one die rotates out of alignment, the designs no longer line up correctly. A rotated die error of, say, 45 or 90 degrees on a 1985 penny would make the coin extremely unusual. Collectors are often mesmerized by turning such a coin in their hands and seeing the reverse design tilted sharply relative to the obverse, a rare and captivating sight. Then there are repunched mint marks, one of the most beloved types of error for collectors who focus on fine details. Although the 1985 penny from Philadelphia bears no mint mark, the 1985 D penny from Denver does. In the past, mint marks were added manually to the dies, and sometimes they were punched more than once, creating doubling, shifting, or ghost images. A 1985 D penny with a clearly repunched D mint mark, especially one where the secondary impression is visibly offset, would attract immediate attention and elevate the coin's desirability. Even subtle variations in the mint mark's shape, clarity, or alignment can make the coin unique. Die cracks are yet another anomaly that numismatists seek. Dies wear over time, and as they age, they can develop cracks and chips. These imperfections transfer onto the coins they strike in the form of raised lines or odd bumps. A 1985 penny with dramatic die cracks across Lincoln's portrait or running along the top of the Lincoln Memorial would be extremely appealing to collectors. These cracks tell the story of mint machinery undergoing stress, and each crack pattern is unique, making the coin one of a kind. Die clashes add another layer of possibility. A die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between them. This leaves faint impressions of each die on the other, which then get transferred onto coins struck afterward. On a 1985 penny with a die clash, one might see faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse or subtle impressions of Lincoln's profile on the reverse. These ghostly images are fascinating and highly collectible, particularly when they are clear and well-defined. Multi-strike errors, where a coin is struck more than once, are among the most visually striking errors of all. A multi-struck 1985 penny might show overlapping impressions of Lincoln's face or repeated letters in Liberty or United States of America. These coins often look surreal, as if the designs are melting into each other, and collectors are always eager to acquire them, especially when the extra strikes are dramatically misaligned. Off-metal strikes represent another rare and highly valuable anomaly. While 1985 pennies were supposed to be struck on copper-plated zinc planchets, errors can occur when planchets intended for other denominations mistakenly enter the production line. Imagine finding a 1985 penny struck on a silver-colored dime planchet or a thicker nickel planchet. The color, weight, and feel of such a coin would be immediately different, making it both rare and immensely valuable. In addition to striking and planchet errors, collectors pay close attention to the finer details of the coin's design. Lettering anomalies, missing letters, doubled letters, or distorted inscriptions are especially intriguing. A 1985 penny with part of Liberty missing or the word trust appearing doubled would stand out dramatically from ordinary circulation coins. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse of the coin also carries its own possibilities for anomalies. The staircase details, columns, and tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial create numerous opportunities for die wear or doubling to create unusual appearances. A 1985 penny with a doubled reverse, where the columns appear doubled or the lettering United States of America shows ghost images, would be highly attractive to error collectors. Condition plays a massive role in determining a coin's value. A 1985 penny with dramatic errors might still be valuable in circulated condition, but one preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition free of scratches, wear, or discoloration would be far more desirable. High-grade error coins often achieve incredible prices because their details are crisp and clear, allowing the error to be appreciated in full. Imagine a scenario where all these anomalies converge in a single 1985 penny. Picture a coin struck off-center on an off-metal planchet, with a doubled die on the obverse, a repunched mint mark, dramatic die cracks spreading across Lincoln's portrait, a visible die clash on the reverse, and a rotated die alignment. A coin like this would be unlike anything else in existence. Its uniqueness would make it a museum-worthy item, an artifact that collectors around the world would compete fiercely to own. This combination of errors would create a value so astonishing that it could reach the realm of hundreds of billions of dollars in theoretical worth, driven by rarity, historical interest, and collector demand. Collectors and experts often spend years searching for such extraordinary pieces, examining millions of coins in hopes of finding that one rare treasure. The excitement of discovery, the thrill of finding something unexpected in a roll of pennies or a forgotten jar, is a major part of what drives the passion for numismatics. My lovely friends, once again as we dive into another incredible and almost unbelievable story from the world of rare American coins. Now we're exploring a coin that most people would pass by without a second thought, a coin so common in everyday life that it blends into the background of pockets, drawers, jars, and dusty corners of forgotten spaces. But the truth is that this coin, when found with certain extraordinary mistakes, can skyrocket in value beyond imagination. So if you've ever wondered whether a simple Lincoln penny from the 1990s could be worth more than the price of a new mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, or even hundreds of millions of dollars, then this is the moment to pay close attention. Because today's focus is on the 1995 D Lincoln 1 cent, a coin that in certain era forms has been rumored, whispered about, and mythologized to the point where some collectors believe it could reach an astonishing value of $250,000 million. It sounds impossible, almost surreal, but everything becomes clearer once you understand how rare mint errors, strange production mistakes, and unexpected anomalies can push a coin far beyond its simple 1-cent face value. As we begin this journey, imagine holding a small copper-plated zinc penny in your hand, a coin that weighs almost nothing, a coin that for most people has no more significance than the cents they toss onto a counter to round out a payment. But for collectors, especially those who chase rare mint errors and elusive anomalies, this tiny piece of metal transforms into a potential treasure. The 1995 D penny came from a time when billions of coins were being minted across the United States, and the Denver Mint, marked by the little d, was producing them with relentless speed. With mass production comes the possibility for unexpected misalignments, equipment malfunctions, planchet issues, die deterioration, misstrikes, doubling, repunched mint marks, and a dozen other small and large errors. Most coins pass through the minting process smoothly and leave the facility in perfect, ordinary condition. But every now and then, a coin escapes that is so unusual, so wildly different from what the mint intended, that it becomes a prized gem in the world of numismatics. The 1995 D penny holds a special place in that world, not only because of its circulating existence but because of the enormous potential locked within rare varieties and errors that are extremely hard to find. Some collectors spend years, even decades, hoping to locate just one example of a dramatic mint error from this year. When such a coin is discovered, especially in pristine condition, people begin speculating about its true value. Could it reach thousands? Could it reach millions? And what if the coin displays a combination of errors so dramatic and unprecedented that collectors believe it could reach hundreds of millions? This is where the stories and legends begin, especially when people imagine the rarest possible scenario, where an error is unlike anything seen before. To appreciate why a 1995 D penny can be so valuable, we need to understand how small imperfections transform into massive differences. Errors like double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, missing letters, clipped planchets, transitional metals, wrong planchets, die cracks, die breaks, filled dies, ghosting, repunched mint marks, and misaligned dies all contribute to a fascinating world of possibilities. When just one of these errors appears in an extraordinary form, collectors begin to take notice. When two or three of them appear on the same coin, the coin becomes exceptionally rare. And when four or more appear in combination, the coin crosses into legendary territory. Imagine, for example, a 1995 D penny with a dramatic double die obverse. Instead of the typical doubling found on earlier dates like the famous 1995 Philadelphia double die, imagine a version where the doubling is bold, visible with the naked eye, and affects key features like the word liberty, the date, or the motto "In God We Trust." Now imagine the same coin also has a misaligned die strike that shifts Lincoln's portrait noticeably upward, creating unusual spacing and distorted details around the rim. Then add a clipped planchet, where a crescent-shaped portion of the coin is missing due to a blank being punched too close to the edge of the metal sheet. Now imagine the coin also shows heavy die cracks spreading across Lincoln's face like lightning bolts frozen in metal. One coin with this combination of errors would be so rare that collectors would have no reference point to compare it to. It would be a once-in-a-generation discovery, and that's when speculation about enormous values begins. This is the magic of rare coins. The possibilities are endless, and the value depends not just on the error itself, but on how unique and dramatic it appears. When you're dealing with a coin like the 1995 D penny, minted in the billions, rarity becomes the most important factor. A coin with no errors is worth 1 cent. A coin with a minor error is worth a little more. But a coin with a dramatic, historic error becomes something entirely different. It becomes a treasure, a conversation piece, a coin that collectors might fight over because they know they may never see another one like it again. And when rarity touches this extreme level, it's not surprising that values can be speculated into the hundreds of thousands, millions, or even beyond. Now think about the Denver Mint in 1995. Machines were running fast, thousands of planchets passing through every minute. Dies were wearing down, machinery was vibrating, and metal sheets were being punched constantly. Under pressure, even the most precise minting system can produce unexpected results. Sometimes dies clash against each other without a planchet between them, creating deep impressions that transfer onto the next coin struck. Sometimes grease builds up inside the dies, filling letters or numbers and causing them to appear faded or missing. Sometimes a planchet intended for another denomination slips into the wrong press. For example, if a penny is accidentally struck on a dime planchet or a foreign coin planchet, its value skyrockets instantly. These wrong planchet errors are some of the most desirable in numismatics because they are extremely rare and visually striking. Imagine discovering a 1995 D penny that was accidentally struck on a brass planchet instead of the usual copper-plated zinc. Maybe the wrong metal mixture was used, or a leftover blank from a previous batch was mistakenly fed into the press. This single mistake can create a coin that weighs slightly more or less than expected, has a different color tone, or produces a different sound when dropped. Collectors quickly recognize such anomalies and treat them as treasures. Errors like these are among the most likely to reach six-figure values, especially when graded by top certification companies in high mint state condition. Then we come to the mint mark errors, such as repunched mint marks or misaligned mint marks. The D on the 1995 D penny is small, but under magnification, it can reveal multiple impressions, doubling, or unusual positioning. A repunched mint mark occurs when the mint worker applies the mint mark by hand and accidentally strikes the punch more than once, creating overlapping or shadowed impressions. While the mint had shifted away from hand punching mint marks by 1990, transitional practices and leftover dies sometimes still produced oddities. If such a repunched or distorted mint mark existed on a 1995 D penny combined with another dramatic error, collectors would start speculating about intense value potential. That a coin with a misaligned mint mark and a double die error would already be rare. But if the coin also displayed a broad strike, die break, or wrong planchet error, then its rarity would be unmatched. This is the kind of coin that causes people to imagine values reaching hundreds of millions, because it becomes a one-of-a-kind artifact. There is no price guide entry. No auction result to compare. No reference in collector books. When a coin has no equal and no known twin, the value becomes purely subjective, driven by collector demand, imagination, and the myths that begin to grow around it. Even more astonishing are the coins with partial collar strikes, rotated dies, or off-metal strikes. A rotated die error means that one side of the coin is not aligned correctly with the other. You might flip the coin, expecting to see the reverse straight up, but instead it appears tilted at a dramatic angle. A 90-degree or 180-degree die rotation is extremely rare and instantly raises a coin's desirability. Combine that with an off-center strike that shifts the entire image sideways, leaving a blank crescent of untouched planchet along one side, and you suddenly have a stunning error that collectors would pay huge amounts for. Imagine an off-center 1995 D penny struck 60% off-center but still showing the full date, mint mark, and liberty. That alone could reach very high values. But if the coin also featured a rotated die and a wrong planchet error, then its value could soar to unimaginable heights. These are the kinds of theoretical scenarios that fuel legends about coins worth hundreds of millions. Are such coins actually discovered often? Not at all. They are beyond rare. But the possibility is enough to keep collectors dreaming and searching through every roll of pennies. Dear history lovers, now we explore another astonishing and unbelievable story from the world of rare American coins. Now we are diving into a coin so common, so ordinary, and so overlooked that millions of people handle it every single day without realizing that a hidden treasure could be sitting right in their hands, in their pockets, or in a dusty drawer of forgotten change. It's the 2001 Lincoln 1 cent, a tiny coin worth just a single cent on its face, but under the right conditions, with the right rare errors, and with the right extraordinary minting anomalies, it has the potential to reach a value that sounds almost unreal, almost mythical, almost impossible to believe. And yet, when collectors begin to imagine the rarest scenarios and the most dramatic errors, the price speculation can climb to extraordinary levels, even to the unbelievable figure of $249,000 million. It sounds outrageous, even unbelievable, but in the world of error coins, the limits of rarity and imagination can stretch farther than anyone expects. So as we begin this journey, I want you to picture the smallest, simplest coin you can find, a 2001 penny that you've probably seen thousands of times. Now imagine that this ordinary coin carries such a powerful mistake, such an impossible minting error, that its rarity places it among the most valuable objects in modern numismatics. This is where the excitement begins, because the magic of rare coins lies in the unexpected. You never know when a simple coin could transform into a priceless treasure. The 2001 penny came from an era when billions of Lincoln cents were produced. The United States Mint was using new equipment, new die-making technology, and new pressure levels to keep up with massive national demand. With billions of coins struck in such rapid succession, the Mint runs its machinery at speeds that leave tiny margins for error. And whenever machines run at high speed, with metal being fed through rollers and dies clashing thousands of times per minute, there is always the possibility that something strange will happen. A piece of debris might get caught in the machinery. A die might shift slightly out of alignment. A planchet might not sit perfectly in place. A leftover blank from another denomination might slip into the wrong feed track. Even a microscopic detail, impossible to see with the naked eye, can create an error that transforms a coin into something unique. And when uniqueness meets collector demand, strange things happen in the world of value. Not all 2001 pennies are rare. In fact, almost all of them are perfectly normal, made of a copper-plated zinc core with clean, sharp details of Lincoln's profile on the obverse. But it is within this ocean of ordinary coins that the rarest and most astonishing possibilities can appear. A major double die error, a misaligned die strike, a broad strike, a missing layer, a clipped planchet, a foreign planchet strike, a rotated die, a dramatic die crack, or a repunched mint mark can change everything. When even a single one of these errors occurs, collectors take notice. But when 2 or 3 of them appear together, the coin becomes extremely valuable. And when a combination of rare errors appears on the same coin, the value becomes immeasurable, speculative, and beyond anything seen in the normal coin market. That is where rumors of hundreds of millions begin to grow. Imagine holding a 2001 penny with a powerful double die on the obverse. You look at the date, and instead of a crisp, clean 2001, you see shadowed numbers, doubled impressions, and distorted spacing caused by a die that shifted during production. Then imagine that the word Liberty also shows doubling so intense that the letters appear split. Now imagine that In God We Trust has doubling visible even without magnification. A coin like this would already be a major discovery. But now imagine that the same coin also shows an off-center strike where Lincoln's portrait is shifted noticeably to the side, leaving a blank crescent of untouched planchet along one edge. Suddenly, this penny becomes one of the rarest coins ever encountered. But the story doesn't end here, because the 2001 penny could also carry additional errors. Maybe the mint mark area shows traces of a repunched mint mark, even though the mint had changed certain processes. Maybe a deep die crack runs across Lincoln's face or through the date, creating a dramatic lightning bolt line in the metal. Maybe the planchet itself is wrong, perhaps a leftover blank intended for another denomination or foreign contract accidentally made its way into the press. These wrong planchet errors, though exceedingly rare, are among the most valuable types in the hobby. Now picture a 2001 Lincoln cent that was struck on a dime planchet. Instead of the usual reddish tone, it appears silvery and lightweight. Or imagine one struck on a foreign coin planchet made of bronze or nickel. These errors occur only in extremely rare circumstances, but when they do, they instantly become treasures. Collectors will bid aggressively for such errors, especially when the date is fully visible. A coin like this could easily pass through circulation unnoticed for years until someone with a sharp eye recognizes its metal composition feels different or sees that the edges don't match the standard penny thickness. This is the type of discovery that sends shockwaves through the collecting world, often leading to extraordinary speculation about the coin's potential value. One of the most exciting aspects of the 2001 penny is the number of different error types that were still possible during this time period. Although the mint had improved technology over earlier decades, machines are never perfect. Dies still deteriorated. Pressures still fluctuated. Misfeeds still occurred. Even the tiniest misalignment could create a double strike, a blockage error, or a partial collar strike. A blockage error occurs when a freshly struck coin sticks to one of the dies and imprints its mirror image onto the next coin struck. These coins are extremely rare and visually stunning, showing a distorted, reversed, deep impression of Lincoln's portrait on one side. If such a thing happened on a 2001 penny and the coin remained in near-perfect condition, collectors would treat it like a masterpiece. Think also about the dramatic visual impact of die caps. When a struck coin sticks to the upper die and continues to strike more planchets, the stuck coin becomes stretched, deformed, and bowl-shaped. It imprints warped images onto the following coins, producing surreal, melted-looking portraits. Die cap errors are among the most spectacular mint mistakes ever found. A 2001 die cap penny would instantly become a high-value rarity, especially if the error were severe. Another possibility is the missing clad layer error. While pennies are not multi-layered like dimes or quarters, they do have a copper plating around a zinc core. Sometimes the plating fails to bond correctly, causing it to bubble, peel, or fall off. A 2001 penny missing part of its copper layer would appear as a strange two-tone coin with exposed zinc. Although common forms of plating blisters do not add much value, severe cases where large sections of plating are missing or where the coin is struck on an unplated zinc planchet entirely are extremely rare and can command impressive prices. Now imagine combining several of these errors into one coin. Perhaps the coin is unplated, struck off-center, and also shows doubling on Liberty. Or imagine an unplated planchet struck with a rotated die. When such combinations occur, collectors recognize them as once-in-a-lifetime finds. This is when values start leaping into the 6- and 7-figure range in speculation. And when a coin is unique, absolutely one of a kind, the value becomes something that cannot be calculated through ordinary price guides. It becomes a matter of desire, rarity, and the intense competition among those who want to own something no one else in the world possesses. Condition also plays one of the most important roles in determining value. A coin with an extraordinary error but severe damage loses much of its potential. But a pristine error coin, one that escaped circulation and retained its original luster, becomes a superstar. Imagine a 2001 Lincoln penny struck with a wrong planchet error, graded at MS68 red by a major grading company. The bright shine, flawless surfaces, and dramatic error would combine into something spectacular. Collectors often chase condition rarity with passion, and when condition meets error rarity, the value multiplies exponentially. Imagine a collector seeing a high-grade 2001 error penny in a showcase, glowing under the display light with deep red brilliance. The surfaces almost seem liquid. The details are crisp. The error is dramatic. The coin feels alive. Collectors know they might never see another one like it. And when they feel that way, they open their wallets. They bid fiercely. They push prices far beyond what anyone logically expected. The emotional value of a coin amplifies its financial value. Stories fuel desire. A collector who owns a unique coin becomes part of its story. They become the guardian of something irreplaceable.